My name is Amber and welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be the first part of my June wrap up. So let's get started. I decided that this is how I'm going to format my wrap ups. What's the book? Why did I pick it up? What did I rate it? And why I rated it that. I already previously stated that my ratings typically start at 3, so the lowest you'll probably see for the most part is 3 stars. The first book I picked up this month was The Kiss of Deception by Mary E. Pearson. Up because I was supposed to buddy read this with my friend Maggie, who's probably lurking in the comments. Hi Maggie. And hadn't, because we decided not to read it for our buddy read. So I just picked this up on my own so we could maybe buddy read the second book, but then they read it without me. So moving on. This book, 4 stars. Really enjoyed the story, however it seemed a little long and it was really slow in the beginning and it took me some time to get into it. Also, I figured out who the prince and who the assassin were pretty early on, so that kind of took out the fun in it. So the next book I read was a reread, and that was Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I decided to read this one because it was a reread in preparation to finally continue on in this series since I've only read the first one. I gave this book 5 stars again upon reread and I really enjoy it and I believe I didn't continue on in this series sooner. Next I read See What I've Done by Sarah Smith. This was an e-arc requested through NetGalley and the finished copy comes out August 1st, 2017. I requested this because it is a historical fiction about Lizzie Borden. I basically have grown up knowing about Lizzie Borden, so I kind of wanted to check this out because of that. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I really like the concept of Lizzie Borden in a book. However, I didn't like the formatting of the book. I felt a little discombobulated at times based on how it just kind of seemed to jump around. Next I read Gork, the Teenage Dragon by Gabe Hudson. This was another e-arc that I requested from NetGalley, and I'm not gonna lie, the main reason I requested this was because it was about a teenage dragon. I'm giving this book 4 stars. I think it leans more towards the younger side of young adult. However, it's really funny and I think it has a lot of good dragon humor in it and I really enjoyed it for that aspect. It did read a little juvenile for my taste. I read the first book that was actually on my TBR this month. It was Jeffrey Dahmer by Joel Norris. I get to this earlier rather than later because it is nonfiction. I didn't know how long it would take me to get through it. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. While it is short, I don't think this is the best book about Jeffrey Dahmer out there or even the best short book about Jeffrey Dahmer out there. I've actually read shorter pieces and longer books about him better than this one. A lot of typos and things that just didn't work well and I really just did not enjoy this one. Next I listened to The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I listened to this through Audible because in the classics read by celebrities section. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. It's pretty fascinating to see how military tactics of the past seem very relevant today, and basically I learned unless you're 100% sure you're gonna win, don't go to war. After that, I finished Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. I decided to reread to decide if I wanted to participate in this read-along for this entire series. I ended up giving this book 3 stars again upon reread. However, I definitely do want to continue on and join in on this group read because I'm really curious as to where the series heads. Next I read Leviathan Wakes by James S. A. Corey. I read this because my partner has been begging me basically to read it for the last couple of months since he started in February and I finally caved. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I think the downfall for this book and the reason that I gave this book 4 stars is 1, space is not my jam, sci-fi is not my jam, and this book is literally a space book. And again, space is typically not my jam. However, I really did like Holden as a character. He's an actual cinnamon roll, let's be fair. And the other thing that brought it down for me a bit was the fact that I didn't like Miller's perspective and it bounced between Holden and Miller and I didn't want to read Miller's perspective until over a good chunk of the book had happened, which is really unfortunate since the book is half told in Miller's perspective. Next I read Queens of Geek by Jen Wilde. Getting a lot of buzz recently and my library hold for it came in, so I figured why not now. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I enjoyed the romance and the con aspect of this book. However, I think that the fandom aspect was a little too dramatic for my own taste and I definitely would have appreciated it when I was younger and more into fandoms. Other than that, it was really good and I really recommend it. Next I read Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I ended up picking this book up because I wanted to read a book about orphans. I ended up picking up this book because it was on my TBR and it was due for a reread. I ended up giving it 4 stars upon this reread. I think the main reason I gave this book 4 stars is because of Pip. which is really weird to say that your least favorite character is the main character, and there were a lot of other problems with this book in regards to other characters that I did and didn't like, but for parts of it I really enjoyed Pip, and then other parts I hated him. And I think the inconsistency in how much I liked the main character is the reasoning behind my rating of this book. And the last book I'm going to do in this part of the wrap-up, One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I picked this up because it was pitched as Breakfast Club plus murder. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I think the audiobook enhanced the characters' perspectives. Each perspective had its own narrator. I think the main thing that keeps me from giving this 5 stars, because I really enjoyed all of the individual characters and how they came together, is that I very early on in the book guessed the whodunit, and that's a little disappointing. That's all for this video. Tell me in the comments down below what you've been reading recently. Thank you and have a nice day.